Basically, you're gonna cook the brown rice like it's pasta. So I'm gonna salt the water, about a tablespoon of salt for that much water. I think there's probably like 3/4 of a gallon of water there. Once that comes back up to the boil, go in with my brown rice. Now notice I didn't rinse it. I didn't do anything weird like that. Give it a mix so it doesn't stick together or stick to the bottom of your pot. You see it's all nice and separated. Now this is brown jasmine rice, but it'll work with any short grain or long grain or medium grain brown rice. Brown rice can be even more difficult to cook than white rice, and I'm actually here to show you a foolproof method that works every single time, and you don't have to worry about volumes or anything. The difference between brown rice and white rice is that the brown rice has the extra germ around the outside of the grain. The water proportions are just really difficult to predict. The bag that I have here said 2 cups of water to 1 cup of rice, but because of the length of time that you have to cook brown rice has to cook for like 35 to 40 minutes. You're gonna also have evaporation during the course of that. The first step is the easiest and takes probably the longest amount of time, but the latter steps are where it gets a little bit more critical. And we're basically back at the boil. So I'm actually gonna move it to a smaller burner. I'm gonna put the pot ajar a little bit so that we minimize the amount of water lost over the course of the next 35 minutes. And I'm gonna let this cook for 35 minutes. In that 35 minutes, you can cook something else delicious. That basically sets your time. So now you got a whole 35 minutes to do something else. You need about another 20 minutes before the rice is actually ready. So you gotta plan for about an hour of total cook time when you're cooking brown rice. Now this right here is really ridiculous. I got this back burner turned all the way up to high. Can anybody tell me why the only burner that works is this one? Come on, comment down below. But anyway, after about 12, 15 minutes, you'll notice as you mix, the rice kind of doubles in size. That's exactly what you want. That means that the outside germ is actually getting soaked with water. It takes about 20 minutes for that to fully happen. And then that's when the inside of the rice actually will cook. You want to use a lot of water here because you basically aren't cooking with an absorption method. So you want to make sure there's plenty of water in the system at all times. This thing got to boil a little bit more vigorously, but leave your lid on so no water escapes. This will also work for like different elevations. So this, like I said, is foolproof. That's more like it. That's what you want to see for the next, I don't know, 15 minutes or so. And you see it's getting nice and kind of mushy. That's okay. We're actually going to take care of that in the end. Don't worry. This is not going to get waterlogged because we have a couple more steps. We've only done the easy part so far. After your 35 minutes is up, you're gonna wanna turn off the heat and take the pot over to Mr. Sink and drain the rice through Mrs. Colander. This is how we're gonna remove all the excess water. That's actually step 1 to removing the excess water. The next thing you're actually gonna do is, in the same pot, which now is dry, you're gonna add the rice right back into that pot. Set the heat down to low, even on this crappy burner, and allow this to steam for 10 minutes on the low setting. This step is also important to drive off any excess water and actually let the rice start to stick to each other. After that 10 minutes is up, turn off the heat, take your pot off of the burner, and now allow it to sit for 10 to 15 minutes. This is gonna allow everything to come to like an equilibrium. It's the same thing we did for the white rice. That 15 minutes is gonna help you have nice fluffy brown rice. After that last little waiting period, you're ready to taste it. You spent all this time waiting and now it's time to dig into your brown rice. So remove the lid. Be careful not to knock the water that's on top of there. You notice the steam escapes right away. This is super hot. Now again, just like with the white rice, you want to fluff this up. So just go right across. You'll notice this is a lot fluffier and less sticky than the white rice. So you could actually just do it a little bit nicey like that. Just make sure it's all broken up, all incorporated nice. The bottom's gonna be a little bit stickier. So you just wanna make sure everything is homogeneous. But you notice it does fall apart, but it does kind of stick together a little. Ooh, fogging up there. It's just right. Because you've salted the water before, it kind of gives it a chance to kind of permeate through all of that rice. Now, if you want to make this like a cilantro rice, cilantro lime, whatever you want, just add the seasonings right to that. You could actually add it at the steaming section of this recipe. Absolutely perfect. Perfect. Notice we barely did any work. Just a little bit to keep up with as far as a couple steps, but pretty simple, right? If you found this video useful, be sure to hit a like and consider subscribing. And if you found this video and still struggle with cooking white rice, click right here.